Alrighty, so today we're going to be going over every one cost phobia in the entire game. It's been a while, It's been a fucking while. Uh, but yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I had to re-record this. This was my second take. The first one, I read through the entire thing, but there's this one clarification that I read wrong that I kept repeating throughout the entire video, and that kind of fucked it up, so I have to do it again. Although I'm not going to talk about it because it's so fucking embarrassing that I don't even want to bother. Um, so we want to talk about what makes a one cost good. For me, it's either being the best at something. I think this applies to every single phobia in the game, but with one cost it's specifically important because almost every single one cost phobia in the game can capture panic points. The ones you can't are uh, essentially erroneous, but the ones who can, they're trying they're fighting to be more unique essentially. So the ones with unique purposes who actually can do it well, those are the phobies that are going to stand out. Those are the one costs that are going to stand out. And this is something I'm going to be repeating a lot throughout the video, but versatility does not fucking matter. It does not matter if you're good at poisoning and dealing electric damage. As long as you're the best at one of them, that's all you need. Um, though that example is a bit iffy because if you're out on the field, then you may need both. But the point is, if you're okay at poisoning and you're okay at dealing electric damage, that's worse than being really good at dealing electric damage or being really good at dealing poison damage. That's still relevant. Also, the version number is 1.4.382. This version number isn't exactly relevant, but it's just to if there's a version later than this, there may be some balance changes. I'm not going to be listing stats in here, so that's why I'm mentioning this. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the video. So oh, by the way, this is going to be a ranking list, obviously. So it's going to be from worst to best. First we got Ted. I'm gonna just skim over this because I think last time I talked about this for way too long. It ended up being about 18 minutes long for this entire video. But essentially, the problem with Ted is that he doesn't have the capacity to justify removing his ability to capture panic points. Because being able to capture panic points relies on you being able to move two spaces, and every single one cost phobia has that. Removing that is a huge hit to your viability. So the newly deads really do have to adapt to that. The problem is Ted and Jill don't really do that. They have okay stats. They're not two cost stats. Honestly, I think that it would be good if they were two cost stats. Like for example, K9000. Maybe it'd be a bit too far, but I think that'd be interesting. Anyway, I just don't think they're strong enough. They're not worth it. Most of the time, it should take you 3 turns instead of 2. That may not seem as big of a deal, but keep in mind that it's kind of important because 1 turn can make a big difference. It's a difference of about 4. Yeah, it is 450. 450 damage. It doesn't seem like that much in the long run, and it's not, but you're losing that damage for essentially nothing because Ted has 800 HP on base level, and that's just not that good. It's not enough. It's gonna die. And I've noticed that people don't prepare one cost to instantly recap the middle point as soon as their opponent puts something on the middle point. I can see how newly deads would be good there, but as long as you prepare one cost in advance, you'll be fine. And the reason I place them so low is because I don't think surprise factors of, oh, hey, I don't have a one cost out, therefore I get punished. I don't think that's reasonable. I don't think that's reasonable enough to put them anything above last place. Same thing goes for Jill. The reason I rank Jill above, though, is because she has more damage. Right, she has more damage, 420 base with the newly dead attack boost. I don't know, the attack boost isn't really too relevant unless you're going on some sort of like murder mission with the two, which I think wouldn't really go too well. Phobies that are melee based and only can move 1 tile per turn tend to be really bad. I mean, even look to Cerberus. Cerberus is terrible in some situations, and it's because Cerberus can't really take too many hits. Maybe he'll get 1,000 damage on like that one Jinx team, but it's not going to kill anything. That's kind of the same thing here, but it's even worse because you're running it down and you're going to die. That's it. Also, I forgot to mention this, but in the top right corner, there will be a description of the role if it's a new one in the list. These are the only two juggernauts in the entire list. You won't see this again. Um, but yeah, just make sure to read that if you want to. Yeah. So next we got Electrocat. I don't like Electrocat very much. I think the problem with him is his subpar electrical damage. He does 420 base, and that's just not very good. Um, Keep in mind he only does 200 base against normal, and then against electrical he does I mean not electrical, mechanical. He does 420 against mechanical, which isn't really that good. The only reason I put him above the newly deads is because he can actually capture panic points. I think that's nice. Um, you could argue that Electric Cat is actually worse because he has other competition that is much better than he is, but also because he's the only Phobie one cost that can do electrical damage, and he can still capture panic points. I think he's a good sort of alternative if you know you're just gonna put your one cost on the panic point and it just dies. For me, because I'm always spamming one costs out, eventually I kind of run out sometimes. So it's really convenient for me. I don't know if it's convenient for other people, but I just like it. So, yeah, that's why he's ranked so low, but that's also why he's not ranked last place. Henrietta is kind of the same thing here. Obviously it's different because of the poison. Poison deals about I think around 900 damage, which is amazing. But the problem is that it takes 10 turns, and we're talking 10 opponent turns. Keep in mind that I think games usually last 20 to 30 player turns, and if we're talking about 10 opponent turns, that's more than half of the game, right? So they're not gonna live that long anyway. You could look at it in a perspective where, oh, they're already taking damage, so now they're lower and they're easier to kill. And that's true, but if the map has a healing spa, or if they're an undead unit and they can just heal it off, then it's not really that relevant. Also, if you have other poison phobies, they're probably going to throw that shit right in front, because they know that if you attack it, you're just wasting your time. So, overall, I mean, like I said before, they do their job, but it's not that good. Cowbell is something that I thought was terrible, and then people were like, "Oh, it's pretty good," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll give it a try." But upon further analysis, yeah, no, that's just not true. The reason is because he doesn't really have enough HP to be considered a tank. I think he only has 650. 650 is good, but it's not enough to not get two-shot in a lot of scenarios. Keep in mind we're talking about 650 base here, so I think at max it's about 900, which is pretty good. But you just have to keep in mind that you're most of the time you're not going to be able to I mean you're going to be able to two-shot it. And the phobies that can withstand getting two-shot, those are insane. You know, you're not going to see many of those in the one cost category. So I think it's not really that good. Also, Cowbell's mechanical. Fuck mechanicals. They're so bad in one cost. They are so worthless. You're not going to poison them. Why would you poison them? And also they take electrical damage. So if you're getting collided with like an erratical or I mean erratic or something, and you get hit in the crossfire, well you just lost about like what 400 HP. That's fucking annoying. Um, Tickles is pretty good, honestly. Tickles is just pretty good. Um, but I think that's only a first glance. Sorry. I think I kind of spaced it out there. I don't know why I said that. Tickle seems really good at first, but then it kind of falls off. He has a trap absorber, which is kind of worthless, but I think that's kind of like a red herring. Because a lot of phobies with trash abilities tend to also have trash stats. Think Slammerhead, Finnegan, stuff like that. They just don't really have the stats. Tickles isn't one of those. He still has pretty good stats. He has a 1,000 base stat total, sorry, 950. He has 750 HP, 200 attack, which is pretty nice. But the problem is that he has no killing power, and he's probably not going to be able to deal any fucking damage anyway. Also, I just want to say this because it's really fucking funny. Um, 750-20 is almost as the same as Ted's 800-20. I mean, 800-200. My bad. Tickles 750-200, Ted 800-200. The reason I rank him above Cowbell though is because he's able to take a bit more damage, and I feel like that's kind of important because you're not going to be killing with I'm sorry, you're not going to be killing with Tickles, you're not going to be killing with Cowbell, so attack isn't really that relevant, so you might as well just get more HP from it. Also, it's not mechanical. Batula's kind of niche, honestly. I kind of went on this tangent here in this presentation where I talk about why I didn't level up Batula, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized that it doesn't really fucking matter. So I'm not gonna upgrade it anyway, but you probably should. The reason I didn't though is because if it gets one shot, which can be sometimes good, sometimes bad, it's kind of the same thing. As you level it up, it gets better or worse in certain situations, so it doesn't really matter. The problem is, Batula has subpar stats. It's not going to be able to deal any damage. The only thing good about it is that it's dimensional. And we're going to see Boomer up there later on, which is also dimensional. So it basically just lost its entire gimmick. Razormouth is going to be our first all-rounder. And I know I said before, versatility doesn't matter. I mean, not versatility doesn't matter. Versatility is terrible. So why is Razormouth so high up if it's considered an all-rounder? First off, this is 7 out of 14. That's not that good. Second off, it's because I'm talking about stats, right? All-rounder in stats is fine because it's able to take punches and it's also able to give them too. And I think that's important. Um, Razormouth is just really good in general. It has a lot of dueling potential with other one costs. There's this really funny gimmick, or not gimmick, but interaction where whoever has the higher level Razormouth is gonna be able to one shot the lower level Razormouth, but the lower level Razormouth won't be able to two shot the higher level Razormouth. I think I said higher level Razormouth can two shot the other one, right? If I didn't, it can. So point is, the reason it's not too high is because contortion is just better. It's just better, right? The reason I say that is because it has more attack and it's undead and it doesn't have as much HP, but it doesn't really matter because it can just leech it back. If you're spending all your resources to kill a Contortio, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, and even then, it doesn't compare that much. I mean, it's not that big of a deal compared to Razormouth. It's like a, what, 40 base, I think? Something like that. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, Contortion deals more damage. That's good. Also, it two shots Razormouth and a lot of interaction, so it's just funny there. They both two-side each other, so sorry. Um, Boom. Okay, I was considering ranking him higher, but you kind of realize how strong these last four are. Like, they're stupid strong. Like, stupid, stupid strong. It's nuts. Like, I wouldn't say no contest, but, because there is one, but, like, holy shit. Anyway, Boom is really good because he gives a threat. He's a threat. Think like Cassowary, think like Eternal Knight, right? You are a threat. And it's super easy to kill. It dies to Jar Cannon, but it's a threat, and they have to kill it. Granted, it's not really that great for capturing panic points because it's the only thing it can do is explode and that kills it, and now you can't capture the fucking panic point. So it's better to just use something else. But I think Boom is really good in this scenario. I mean, not sorry. I didn't list what the scenario was. Um, when there's a group of phobies like just in front of your fucking face, which you're not gonna do, but it helps them from not doing it. Obviously, you're a threat because you can just boom their fucking ass. However, the problem is that you're not going to see that very often. They're usually going to group up in the back line where you can't reach them, so you can't kill them. Crazy to think about that. But we have a better version of that, which is AWOL. The thing about AWOL is that it does less damage, it doesn't have area effect, but it's fucking AWOL. It's great because it doesn't die when it deals damage. So it helps a lot with dealing quick burst damage, and that's why I put it as an assassin instead of a kamikaze, because boom does something and then it dies. AWOL doesn't. It's pretty good, especially against Batula, because you can just smack it, capture panic point for free. Um, but yeah, that's why I like AWOL a lot. And sorry, I spaced out. I don't know why I immediately like tried to move on, but yeah. AWOL is just good for finishing those last few targets off. It's a lot better than Boom because even though it's single target, it's a lot more sustainable because you can attack again after that. Okay, so we're gonna get into the top three now. And these top three are interchangeable in my opinion. Um, they I think they're placed in good spots, right? But if you told me, hey, muffintop's top tier, suck my dick, I mean, it's understandable because muffintop's really good. Um, muffintop, look, I love muffintop. It's probably my second favorite Healer. First place has to go to Blue Leon because I fucking love him. But yeah, this guy's fucking nuts. It heals HP. It doesn't really, obviously it costs one key. It doesn't really cost that much. It doesn't take up board space after that, kind of like Clinico. It happens to me sometimes. And also gets rid of poison. Um, like I said before, I think it's interchangeable. You can honestly put this guy in first place, but you do have to keep in mind some maps are gonna have healing spas, and sometimes they are gonna be close enough to the point where you could just move over. It's not that big of a deal, but sometimes you need that extra HP, or you don't have a healing spot, or the healing spot is too far away. Then use Muffin Top. Um, I mean, I don't think this really has to be explained. cycasin is just inherently good. It does a lot of damage. Just a fun fact, I searched it up because the level cap is now at 30. You can do 2,150.5 damage with all the poison. Granted, that takes 6 player turns and 3 opponent turns, but that's a lot of fucking damage for a 1 cost, and that's only 1 attack. I did not think that cycasin was that good, but took a look at it, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty strong. Um, it does a lot, and it can still capture panic points. It doesn't really have any issues with that. So I think that's why Cycasin is so strong, just because it really stops your opponent from playing anything other than mechanicals without getting into Cycasin's like little area. There are some situations where you can one-shot it with like Murder Wings sometimes. It has about 500 HP at level 8 to 9, so yeah, it does get one-shot there. But it has a lot of power, and I think for one cost, it can be a sort of subpar cassowary, if you will. Alright, lastly, you know him, you love him, Boomer. If there is a tank in the one cost category, you already know there's a problem. I'm just gonna put it out there. 1,870 HP at level 30. That's fucking nuts. 1,000 base HP. That's fucking nuts. There's really not much to say here because of the fact that he can basically tank 2 shots a lot of the time. That's fucking nuts. Also, it's a dimensional. Sometimes that's not that great. Sometimes it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Ultimately, you could say, like I said before, you could say that the top 3 are interchangeable, and I agree. But I mean, I just think Boomer's the best. Um, Thanks for watching. It's definitely been a while, and I might do a 2 cost video. Maybe. Um, there's a lot that's been going on, specifically with me, just not really wanting to make content on this game anymore because there's not much to talk about. There used to be stuff to talk about, now there isn't. So, I might be doing this as a series. Hopefully I will, because I do like making videos like this. But, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for listening. I should probably stop stuttering. Also, just so I can kind of just churn these out, I probably won't be editing videos too much. This is probably the extent of, editing that you're gonna get. So, yeah, have a good day. How do I stop this recording again?